Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the early colonial period, that is to say, the period before the founding of the United States. It is a literary period characterized by being heavily influenced by English literature, as we must remind ourselves that the first colonizers were in fact British subjects. So, this period begins with Columbus's discovery of the Americas in 1492. He, like many other European explorers, was searching for the Northwest Passage, which was a sea route many believed could quickly lead to Asia. Another famous explorer at the time was the Italian John Cabot, who received letters patent from King Henry VII, which granted him the right to search for the Northwest Passage and to conquer whatever lands he discovered if not already claimed by another Christian monarch. This kind of international law was the product of the doctrine of discovery, a concept that established a spiritual, political, and legal justification for colonization and the appropriation of territories not yet claimed by Christians. Elements of this concept can be found in decrees or papal bulls, like the Romanus Pontifex, written in 1455 by Pope Nicholas V, who granted the Portuguese a monopoly of trade with Africa and authorized the enslavement of the indigenous. Likewise, the papal bull Inter Caetera, written in 1493 by Pope Alexander VI, justified Christian explorers' claims on lands they allegedly discovered, promoted Christian and white supremacy, and also dehumanized the indigenous living on the land. Today, many documents show that Protestant England, under the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, encouraged voyages of discovery. For example, Richard Hakluyt wrote Discourse of Western Planting in 1584, which is a document made with the intent to convince Queen Elizabeth to support the colonization plan of Walter Raleigh, but also to encourage English merchants to invest in those enterprises. A few points he made are, for example, that the colonies would bring more food and goods to England, but they could also be a place for the unemployed and those considered burdensome back in England. The alluring prospects of the New World generated a kind of competition and rivalry among European powers. The English felt threatened by the Spanish as they were gaining more and more wealth from their expeditions in the New World and were also spreading Catholicism, which is the big rival of Protestantism. So, this led England to wanting to counterbalance the Spanish power and thus started organizing several expeditions with the purpose of finding new trades, exploit the natural resources found in a new world, and start colonizing it. Their first attempts turned out to be unsuccessful. In 1585, Richard Grenville led an expedition on Roanoke Island with the intention of settling a permanent colony, but this attempt failed due to conflicts with local indigenous. Thomas Harriot took part in the expedition and wrote an extensive account of the indigenous in Brief and True Report of the Newfound Land of Virginia, which included John White's images that portrayed the indigenous practices and the indigenous themselves. In 1587, John White himself also attempted to create a colony on Roanoke Island, but once again without any success. This failed colony is known today as the Lost Colony. The first successful permanent settlement in North America was Jamestown in 1607, and from that moment on, the colony gradually expanded along the East Coast. Captain John Smith, who was an English soldier remembered primarily for his role in establishing the settlement of Jamestown, is also known for his association with the famous Pocahontas, a Native American girl. In his book, General History of Virginia, New England, and the Summer Isles, written in 1624, he recounts the time he was captured by the Native Americans and he also gives a general account of his experience in the New World. And unlike Harriet, he was very biased and depicted the indigenous in a very negative way. So, to summarize, all these expeditions at the time all shared these basic assumptions. Colonies would bring economic benefits to England, more food, all sorts of natural resources, and all these exploration accounts would be used as a way to convince people to invest in these enterprises and earn money. Strategic advantages: England had to counterbalance Spain's power, otherwise, it would get too powerful and would spread Catholicism even more. And another point, the conversion of indigenous people. However, we should point out that in this specific period of time, more effort was put into survival and trade rather than into converting the natives. It was the later colonies founded by the Puritans, which I am going to talk about in another video, that came to the New World with the primary intention of spreading the beliefs of their religion. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.